we'll return to our man later on. But let's tackle our next story. You know, with 2 calendar years to go to the 2027 general elections in our country, the coalition of opposition forces against incumbent President Bola Tinubu is mounting. But in a seismic shift, if you ask me, the presidential candidate of the Labour Party in the 2023 election, Mr. Peter Obi, has declared his intention to run on Labour Party platform. Answering a question on what seems to be his indifference towards the internal Labour Party crisis, Obi said, let me quote him, "What is happening in the Labour Party and the People's Democratic Party is caused by the government. Quote me anywhere," end quote. Well, we have been there before, don't you think?
It's quite funny. You know, what reminds, when I watched that soundbite and this whole story, I remember what Ashwaju said in the build-up to the primaries in APC.
Okay.
When they were talking about consensus candidates. He said, I'm in support of consensus as long as it is me. You know, so, you know, Oyegu laughed then that this one knows what he's headed for. So for Peter Obi, people will say that when you want to come into consensus conversation, or you want to come into this kind of coalition, you must drop your ambition first and see who is the most suitable to be the candidate. So without missing words, this is the big problem. Yeah. This is one of the reasons why some of us feel maybe there's going to be a theory that we don't understand. But as far as all the indices are available, this coalition cannot work. It cannot work. PDP has come out, the governors in PDP have come out to say that any coalition that will not have PDP as the controlling button, forget about it. And people, you have an article who is also going into the coalition to say, I must be the candidate. So there is a big problem. And those who are supporting Peter Obi, who became some kind of movement in 2023, are saying that it is either you're a presidential candidate or not. So I see a whole lot of, pardon my language, hocus pocus, among this interest.
We have multiple ideas. We are, you know, a very vibrant organization that can challenge those in power based on facts and figures, based on superior logic, not just on euphoria. Unfortunately, you know, in Nigeria, I think the reality now is that the chances of opposition defeating the current government in power has become leaner than what it used to be in 2023. In 2023, the opposition was stronger because at that time there was covert and overt division within the APC. The rivalry between the trends, the CPC, the AMP, and the Action Congress, represented by the current president. There was that, though they tried to suppress it. And also the build-up to the primary, there was a lot of tension. You know, the Cabal wanted a particular person, other group, the Progressive wanted a different. So the APC, I mean the opposition at that time, had a good ground to have. And then, of course, there was a groundswell of opposition, mass opposition against President Buhari, the way he handled the issue of terrorism, where some people are hobnobbing with terrorists in the north. I mean, in some parts of the north, visiting them, 200 you know, terrorists overran the runway in Kaduna. You know, a lot of things happened. People going to visit them, giving them honor in their bushes and all. So I think people are angry. But I think today, the subjective and objective conditions differ. Why the variables that led to the defeat of opposition remain the same? And what are those variables? Division within its own ranks, the PDP and Labour Party, they remain factionalized. More people are moving from Labour Party, from PDP to APC. They have less governors now.
But this statement from Mr. Peter Obi, that whatever is happening within the Labour Party and the PDP is provoked by government.
Well,
by the sitting government.
For me, what Mr. Obi should realize is that when he was governor of Anambra State, it will be in his own interest to defeat those that want to compete, contest power with him. So the opposition is at liberty to use legitimate weapons to weaken those in government. The same thing, you can't take that legitimacy from those in power. They also have the right, they have the legitimacy to ensure that you don't rise. It's not left for you to be able to overcome that contradiction based on your wisdom, your networking, and your capacity to deal with the confusion that is confronting you within your party. But in this case, is the APC responsible for you not be able to pick a standard candidate last year, 2 years ago? Are they responsible for Peter Obi leaving PDP to move to Labour Party?
Yeah.
Even now that you have different factions in Labour Party, your members are moving. If you have moral authority on your members in Labour Party, you should be able to convince them not to move from your party to. So I don't think you can blame the federal government, on that basis. Yeah. Because as the leader of that party, you should have that moral authority. You have the weapon to be able to galvanize your party to ensure that none of them leaves. But more people are leaving your party, going to the ruling party. So the opposition remains weaker as it is now. And I think in the real sense of it, they are not talking to the masses. They are talking in the newspaper, holding meetings, but the masses of Nigerians, they are not engaging them.
For instance, I'm sure Kayode knows this. In the PDP, for instance, the post of the national secretary is still at issue.
Big issue.
Samuel Ayamu says, I am the bona fide fellow. And Ude, the other fellow, Ude is saying, I'm the main man. You cannot blame that on the sitting government.
Exactly. So I think you have said it all. Like you said, what are you doing with your members? Yeah. I think PDP is even moving, they are even trying by calling themselves, by holding meetings, by trying to resolve by setting up a committee. But for Labour Party, they've been speaking. That meeting that Peter Obi spoke, he was speaking to youth. We invited him. And then the one that will solve the problem of the party. So for me, I was waiting for the weight of that statement. Yeah. It would have landed by saying, okay, the government is a problem but we are putting our house in order. Yeah. But telling us that the government is behind your crisis, you have only spoken to us that you don't have what it takes to withstand the ruling party. That's the meaning. Except I need to listen to the full interview. But what is in the public there does not carry any political weight as far as politics is concerned.
While we wait to go back to BKO, let's look at this. In the Second Republic, okay.
No, please go ahead.
In the Second Republic, the chairman of the party was the father figure.
Yeah.
Whatever he said was gospel, but not anymore. So what has changed?
You see, the reality which the people in opposition may not like to admit is that you don't just jump to a party that you are not part of the foundation. You don't even understand the working. You just want to use it as a vehicle of convenience.
As a platform.
So for you to have dominion in that party will be very, very difficult. So when, Peter Obi, essentially Peter Obi came to Labour Party, it was like, look, I want a vehicle to use to.
Okay.
So in terms of the structure of the party, he was in control. In terms of the soul of the party, he has no idea. He only came in as presidential candidate. That, look, let me use this party, just like Mimiko did the last time. And there is no synergy between the working class, the peasant, that's supposed to be the bedrock of Labour Party, and the presidential candidate. So there's no way you'll be able to have control over that kind of party.
All right.
And I think that was exactly what happened. So the division that is going on in Labour Party now, I expected it if you had asked me any time from in the past. So look at even what is happening in Anambra State, the home place of Peter Obi, where the governor has adopted. So it means you are going to have a lot of contest, even in your own territory.
Yeah.
So I think the opposition is weaker as it is, and they are not they don't have a defined strategy and tactics that shows that they have the capacity to, engage.
One hopes, one hopes that time is not running out for opposition. We are ready to turn over things to BKO. So, welcome. How do you weigh in here?
The way the politics of 2027 is being played, the dramatic personnel must weigh their options in a very careful manner. Peter Obi is being offered a chance to be on a ballot with Atiku Abubakar. Atiku Abubakar is not prepared to yield ground to younger people. He wants to contest again. He sees himself as someone who can still win the top prize. The truth is, I don't think he stands a chance if he decides to be running mate to an Atiku Abubakar. I don't think he stands a chance. I don't think he stands a chance. But they are offering him one opportunity to be vice president, and then once Atiku does one term, he will then become the president. But no one is even sure that the joint Atiku ticket with Obi can win the election in the first place. And I can bet that if Obi decides to run as deputy to Atiku, he will not get the kind of support that he got that last time. A lot of our people in the East were galvanized by his candidacy. They won't have the same feeling when he is subordinate to someone. They wanted him to be president. So moving from presidential candidate of a party to becoming the vice presidential candidate, I don't think it's something that excites a lot of the supporters. So Atiku is careful. He believes that he can still get another shake of the dice on the ticket of on the platform of Labour Party. And that is what he's saying. He's prepared to contest again on that platform. He's not looking to be deputy to anybody. He's not looking to contest anywhere else. And the message is clear.
All right, gentlemen, you know, I cannot, at this point, I cannot forget the statement credited to Napoleon Bonaparte, Wale and Coyote. He said, when your enemy, in politics, when your enemy is making a mistake, do not interrupt him. It's actually, it holds true.
That's true.
Till day after tomorrow.
That's true.
All right, let's take on our last but not least. Okay then.